This is Mark Bell from supertraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West. And I have a question from Super B-Ron, I guess his name is. Super B-Ron from YouTube has a question about powerlifting. And it's his belief that he thinks bands and chains and slingshots and things of this nature are being utilized too much in powerlifting today. He wants to know how much they really help with the raw bench as opposed to training without them. He sometimes thinks that powerlifters today overcomplicate things with equipment and technique. All this purposeful reducing of range of motion and yada yada. He thinks it's too much in powerlifting these days, and he kind of likes the Arcidi, Kazmaier, Henderson way of doing things back in the day. He said they didn't use huge arches and equipment. As far as Henderson's concerned, he used hardly any equipment at all. I don't even think the guy used wrist wraps. He was a bit of a beast. But Kazmaier used equipment, and so did Ted Arcidi. Ted Arcidi had a wonderful arch. He was a big dude, and he was really strong. But you have a point. What you really need to understand, though, is that everybody's different. Not everybody cares about their raw bench. And so a lot of times that might be some of the reasons why, like you're responding to a video that you saw, a dynamic effort bench video from supertraining.tv. You're responding to that, and so you may have seen us training with bands and chains and things of that nature. But you got to keep in mind, we are shirted lifters. So some of the thought process on that is, A, you're trying to produce the most force that you possibly can, trying to teach your body to become faster when you're utilizing bands or chains. The other thought process that goes on there that people don't talk a whole lot about is that you're accommodating resistance. And you hear people talk about accommodating resistance, but you don't hear people talk about is that the shirt kind of accommodates resistance. Weights are lighter at the bottom and heavier at the top. Weights are lighter at the bottom and heavier at the top, just like they are with a band, a chain, a slingshot, a reverse band, or wearing some sort of powerlifting gear, in this case a bench shirt. One thing that I think everyone out there needs to be aware of is that you're not fooling yourself. These exercises are all great, and they're great to utilize. It's great to utilize boards and slingshots and everything. You can even get carried away with a slingshot. I'm the inventor of the slingshot. You can go purchase one right now from howmuchyoubench.net. But I'll be the first one to tell you that you can overdo it with the slingshot. You can overdo it with boards. You can overdo it with reverse band. You can overdo it pushing against bands. So a lot of ways, Super B-Ron, you have some decent points. I don't know why you got to be so negative about it, though, or hostile. You should relax a little bit. Take some ginkgo biloba and maybe drink some tea and try to relax a little bit. Maybe eat a biscuit or something like that. Anyway, you got to just kind of realize that everyone out there has different goals. So some of the guys you see, A, they might be trying to reach their own goals and not reach your goals, and B, they could be guilty of sticking to things that they're good at, which we all are guilty of at times. So just kind of realize that they may have different goals in mind than what you have in mind. Also, I think everybody should really be aware of the way that they're bench pressing. I've noticed a lot of great raw bench pressers, past, present, included, that don't do full range of motion benching. They bring the weights down sometimes just before it touches their chest, and they reverse the weights back up, and sometimes don't even lock out, and then they go to the meet and they don't have any problems locking the weight out. Stan Efferding comes to mind. I'm not sure how Scott Mendelson trained his bench, but I would imagine it was probably in a similar fashion. Eric Spotto comes to mind. A lot of guys out there that kind of do these short range of motion benches, keeping tension on the chest. You don't hear people talking about training the chest anymore. They're always talking about the triceps and the upper back, but we all know what's really pressing those weights up is your actual chest. So don't forget to work your chest with dumbbells, dumbbell overhead presses, dumbbell bench, dumbbell incline, that kind of stuff. So maybe even implement some pauses on your bench and Super B-Ron, I think you got some points here to take home. Some full range of motion benching, some pause benches, things like that can really have a dramatic effect on your bench, and make sure you're not doing too much of bands, too much of chains, too much of boards, and so on. Keep getting results, keep getting strong, and how much you bench. Later.